Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another segment of Asaph Cafe. Check my time here. I am your host, Asaph Adonai, and this time we're going to do a one-on-one. I'm going to do a one-on-one with our guest for today, our aging rocker, affectionately our aging rocker, Emmett.
Thanks. Yeah, I haven't done a one-on-one for about over a year with you, so it's really nice.
Yeah, because I've been doing the show for almost 2 years. So
yeah, it's fascinating.
Just you and I, one-on-one. I gotta drink a little water there.
Yeah.
Well, let me start out with our traditional.
Oh yes.
This guy's in love with you.
Like I was saying, I heard that was it a couple of nights ago when doing the dishes on the Easy Listening channel, and I thought about you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was doing the dishes, and singing my weird songs about washing machines and dryers like I always do, and late at night. I don't have a dishwasher,
Okay.
So often I do them like late at night, and then I wait for them to dry for about 9 hours, and then get up in the morning and put them away. Because I don't have a dishwasher, I wish I did. It'd be something to talk to. I like to talk to inanimate objects and washers and dryers and that kind of thing. Isn't that fun, people? Yep, I used to do the awful truth about society. I had to retire because I didn't have an audience. But, I was the one with the spiky-haired mohawk. I don't know if you guys remember. But I know I've changed a lot of my looks, but I'm still...
Well, that's why we're calling you our aging rocker now, see? Affectionately, our aging rocker.
Yep.
Which is a perfect title for a character.
It is. My health is a lot better. That's why I wasn't on the cafe for about a month. Because I had that cold and whatever was going around. But my finger's doing better. Remember I told you last year it was in a splint and it's getting better with physical therapy.
I'm glad. Hear that.
Yeah. Very happy about that by the Lord, the Lord's grace. Yeah.
Right.
I wear the splint at night though. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I have to wear that for about a month and a half, almost 2 months at night, but it's taking a long time to heal, but oh well, it's quite interesting. Dupuytren's is interesting, that's what it was, The spin dry, the spin in the side, the dryers.
Well, that's such a beautiful song.
It is.
Well, since it's just you and I, why don't you start our program? You can start our program off.
Thank you, O God, again for this show. Amen. Thank you another time.
Yes, that's it.
I want to splash in the coffee cup and live in a washing machine. I want to splash in the coffee cup and live in the washing machine. I always sang that in junior high because I'd heard that my relative was singing that. And that's how I heard that, where's my underdog? But I changed it. I want to splash in a coffee cup and live in a washing machine. It's all cool. I want to do. And in the lunch line at junior high, the kids always ask, please sing your washing machine song. I haven't heard it, so I want to splash in a coffee cup.
Since it's just you and I, I'll just play some easy listening music for you.
Yeah, please. That's something we can talk about again, because that's one of our favorite things is easy listening, Definitely. Yeah, let's see.
Well, I haven't been able to practice as much as I should lately. I don't have my piano at home at the moment.
Oh, you don't? Oh, that's awful. What happened to it?
I wound up losing it when I had to move.
Oh. You moved recently, or I didn't know?
No, I mean about a year ago.
Oh, okay. I thought when you were playing at the mall, you practiced at home your piano.
Well, when I was at the mall, I did prepare for that, but I used to have a piano at home when I lived in my other former complex, and when I had to move, the lease didn't renew after 6 years. That was part of the problem, and just some other issues that was going on. And so I donated my piano because there was no way I could take a piano with me when I didn't know where I was going to end up.
Yeah.
So that's why I wound up losing my piano. So I don't get to practice as much as I
that's horrible.
normally would. Well, as soon as I get another one again, I'll pick up on it because I practice hours and hours all the time. And I'm just relying on my memory now, but eventually I'm going to have to really get in front of those keys again.
Huh. Because I knew you were practicing before you played at the mall, you know.
Yeah, well, when I was at the mall, I was prepared for that. But, I mean, as far as, like, just every day and learning new material and stuff, I can't really do that without the piano.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I took piano lessons when I was a kid, but I couldn't understand sheet music. That was very difficult for me. To read sheet music. I don't know why. I could do my own compositions, but I couldn't read sheet music.
Well, I'm a little rusty at that too. I'm going to spend this year reviewing all of that too. It's like when you read a book.
It is, yeah.
You know, when you first learn how to read a book, you had to learn your ABCs. Well, it's the same principle with music. You have to learn the ABCs of music and then eventually learn how to read, just like when you learned how to read a book.
Right.
And that just takes time.
Yeah, it does.
You know?
Fascinating.
Well, let me just give you a formal interview. Let me interview you then, since we're doing a one-on-one. I'll start off by asking, where are you from?
Tucson, Arizona.
Is that where you were born?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, my ex is from Tucson, Arizona. And you have brothers and sisters?
I have one sister, yeah.
Okay.
She was in
Now, are
Oregon.
you older or younger?
I'm younger, yeah.
I want to interview you so that the audience can know more about you.
Exactly.
Okay, and so you went to school in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, and Lewiston, Idaho, and here. Of course, I graduated from Sentinel, yeah.
Okay, so when did your family move to Montana?
That was after Lewiston, Idaho. Like I said, I did tell you about it one time when we did the one-on-one interviews. We moved then to Lewiston, Idaho. And when I was 13, I absolutely loved it. You know, it was so beautiful, flowers, trees. Like I said, that's how I got introduced to easy listening on that little radio that I used.
And I remember that.
Then I moved here in 1984. And
by yourself?
Yeah. No, not by myself, with my parents, my mother and stepfather. And then they had, like I said, an easy listening station, KALS, and then they also had, finally, MKU Easy FM, Easy 102, and I got hooked on easy listening,
Okay. And did you go to college too?
No, I never did. I hated school so much I didn't want to go to college. Yep.
Well, I can understand that. I mean, I wasn't a fan of school. I told Linda on a past show that if it were left up to me, there would be no school.
Absolutely.
There would be no high school, no junior high.
Yeah,
I would say homeschool your kids. If it were left up to me.
Yeah, same here.
But
when I did my show, I promoted homeschooling all the time, and I said that we should end compulsory education.
Well, it's not because I'm saying the education system is bad.
Right. Well,
I don't like the activity that goes on in public schools. And
same here.
That is why.
Yes.
If it were left up to me, I would just tell parents to homeschool their kids.
Absolutely.
And I would outlaw and ban public school.
I think that's a great idea.
That's what I would do if it were
Absolutely.
left up to me. And I'm not trying to get political or anything. I'm just saying, when I was in high school, I disliked it so much.
Same here, yeah.
Oh, I make no secrets about it.
Yeah, nor did I when I was doing my show.
High school.
Absolutely.
I hated the activity that went on, and I'm a person of color too, so that was part of it too at that time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But not because of the racial issues. I just didn't like the whole institution.
Exactly.
I didn't like the activity that went on. There were drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. It's terrible. Yeah.
I didn't like it in high school.
Exactly.
And teenagers, that's a tough time in your life.
It is, yeah.
And they want to fit in, and they.
I never wanted to fit in. I hated the idea of fitting in. Yeah.
That's part of the problem in high school. And there's always these. I call them football jocks in high school.
There were, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're just a pain in the
behind.
They are, yeah. So that's why I just think that you should keep your kids at home.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
With all the peer pressure, all the bullying in school.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I had my share of it too.
Same here, definitely.
Oh, I got teased a lot in high school because I was a small person.
Yeah,
I was a really tiny person in high school.
Yeah.
I only weighed 90 pounds when I was a junior in high school.
Same here.
So I was always a target.
Yeah.
But like I told some friends of mine, when I was a sophomore in high school, there was a senior. His name was Sherman Miller. And he was a martial arts expert.
Yep.
And we're not talking about the kind that you just go to your little karate studio around the block. He was one of those kids that trained, like that TV show with David Carradine.
Yep.
Kung Fu. Well, Sherman was one of those kind of martial arts experts that trained in that since he was like
Yep.
3, you know?
Yep.
And so I found favor with him for whatever reason when I was a sophomore in high school because I got picked on so much.
Yep, that's good, yeah.
And he said, you know what, Asaph, you're a good kid.
Yeah,
I'm going to start looking out after you.
Wonderful, yeah.
And my parents lived about 2 or 3 blocks from the high school I went to. And so this senior started walking me home every day because he had to go that way anyway before going home. He'd drop me off first and then walk home. Yeah. And he told my birth mom, says, I like your son, Asaph. I'm going to be like a bodyguard to him. I want to make sure he's okay in school. And he was my bodyguard when I was a sophomore in high school. And there was this one kid. I call him a redneck. He was like you know those redneck cowboy types, like the wear the cowboy hat. And he was a junior. And for whatever reason, this kid did not like me. And I never did anything to him. And he used to pick on me. He would punch me and hit me and hurt me. And I couldn't do anything to defend myself because I was too small. Yeah. So one day, Sherman saw this kid picking on me. And so Sherman walked up to him and said, oh, so you like to pick on smaller people, huh? Well, why don't you try picking on me and pick on someone your own size? And the next thing I know, Sherman started using some of his martial arts move on this kid. And punched him and you know we had like these handball courts and Sherman had him backed up against a wall and did some martial arts.
Wonderful.
And he must have laid into this kid like real fast, you know, with those martial arts moves. And he did that to teach this kid a lesson about picking on smaller people. And then Sherman walked me home that day and he told my mom what he did to this kid. And he just devoured this kid. Good. I almost felt sorry for this kid.
That's good, yeah.
But see, this is my point. There would not have to be any of this bullying if they didn't have public school.
I agree completely.
And that's why I don't like public school. And then if you talk about relationally, guys, you know, they think women are something to conquest.
Exactly.
In high school.
Exactly, they do. It's terrible.
They want to see how many girls they can knock off.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Yeah.
It's horrible.
It is terrible.
And it must be horrible for fathers that have daughters in high school.
Yeah. I would be worried. I'd be terrified. I never thought about that, but that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, one of my best friends when I was in California years ago, she used to go home crying, really in tears because the girls would pick on her. Did you see the movie Spider-Man, the original one with Tobey Maguire?
No, I did not. No.
Well, they had a scene in there. Tobey Maguire's character is just learning his powers, right? And he's in high school. They had this kid named Flash. He was like this real big, muscular fella, and he just picked on everybody. And so they had a scene where when Tobey Maguire's character was learning his powers, he had a web come out of his hand and it hit the tray and it pulled the tray back and hit Flash. Yeah. And the food spilled all over him. So, and there's always this good-looking girl, like a cheerleader type, that's always hanging out with these knucklehead, scrapping, muscular fellas. And so they had a scene in there where Flash was going to beat up Maguire for accidentally spilling food on him, and the girlfriend was trying to get him to stop, and she couldn't because he was so big. But of course, Flash loses the fight because Maguire's character was just getting his powers as Spider-Man. Yep. And I know that's just a movie, but see, the point that I'm making is that in high school, there's always these football jobs. I know. They pick on, you know, the smaller kids, and they always have the cute cheerleader type girls. I know. Like that. And if there's a girl that doesn't want to be bothered, they mess with the girls anyway.
I know, it's terrible, yeah.
So, but see, you know, if I don't have any children, but if I did, I'd put them in martial arts. And I don't mean just, you know, little karate studio.
Same here, yeah.
I'd go to a Buddhist temple or something like that and ask if they'd train my kid.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm glad I was trained in the martial arts. It wasn't one of those little rinky-dink.
No, I'm talking about. Talking like kung fu, like learn that because I don't know what it is about children. I guess it's human nature. Kids are very brutal.
They can be. Because
I used to do student teaching. Yes. And you know, kids they tease.
I know.
And they're brutally honest.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so if you've got this mind of a child, with this big physical body.
Exactly.
It can create problems.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, if I had children, I'd put them in martial arts
Same
when they're
here.
3.
Thankfully,
just to avoid the bullying problem.
Exactly.
For one, if you've got
exactly.
to go to public school and stuff like that.
I'm glad I took the martial arts myself. I never got a black belt, but it gave me the self-confidence to be able to defend myself. And
oh yeah, you need to, because in public school, God, I don't know what it is. Kids, even in grade school.
Even in grade school, definitely.
Kids pick on kids.
Exactly.
They bully one another. And just all this other stuff. And I had all that happen to me, but fortunately, by the time I was a sophomore in high school, I had Sherman. And then, in my case, like I said, I weighed 90 pounds.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
When I was a junior in high school, and then in my senior year, I just blossomed.
Yeah.
I went from 90 pounds to 120 pounds in that summer after I finished my junior year of high school. And so in my senior year, the same people that used to pick on me didn't seem so intimidating because I had grown over the summer.
Yeah.
It was weird. I just sprouted like a weed that summer. And I remember at first, before I realized that I was physically bigger, I would see the people that used to intimidate me and I was afraid of them, even though I was taller than they were. And then the on switch came on one day and it said, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm taller than that guy that used to pick on me. Why am I afraid of him?
Exactly, yeah.
And so it gave me a little confidence.
That's good.
I mean, I wasn't in martial arts or anything, but it gave me confidence to know that, hey, if this guy gets in my face, I'm going to snap him like a twig.
Exactly.
But see, this is my point.
Yeah.
There should not have to be
any
of
You're
that.
absolutely right.
If you're learning school, you should be able to
learn without being afraid all the time or all that other drama. Exactly.
Yeah, and being teased and laughed at and picked on.
Yeah.
Or picked on because you're not the right color, or picked on because you don't have the right so-called family.
Exactly,
And that's just something that's been going on with kids.
If I were a school teacher, I wouldn't allow bullying. I wouldn't allow that at all.
Yeah, well, bullying, that's just something that's been going on, for so long.
Yeah, centuries, especially now, just horrible, yeah.
But yeah, I would put my kids in martial arts, and it would be taught that you don't use that unless you absolutely have
absolutely.
to.
Yeah. And second of all, I'd homeschool my children.
Yeah,
I would homeschool or put them in Catholic school. Either one.
Yeah.
Either Catholic school. I wouldn't allow them in these public schools. No way.
But even the Christian schools and the Catholic schools, and I'm not trying to pick on them, they have their share of issues too.
Yeah, they do.
So.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Homeschooling to me would be ideal.
Well, my sister homeschooled her child, and then when they had a comparison, because they check the academics after so many years of homeschooling, and my niece scored highest in her class of the people that they compared her with that she would have
absolutely
been in there if she had gone to public school, and she scored the highest. So there's a lot to be said about homeschooling, in my opinion.
There is, absolutely.
It works. And then it takes pressure off of your children, bullying.
It does.
You don't have to worry about your 14-year-old being picked on by a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah, definitely.
If you have a daughter,
definitely.
And I sympathize with fathers. They must have to walk around the house with a big stick in their hand.
Oh, absolutely.
When their daughters are starting to develop and things like that. So I just think that's why they should just stop public school.
I agree.
Another thing I don't like about public school, when you have PE classes.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're showering after that.
I hated that.
I don't think that's a good idea. You know what I did when I was in high school? I never showered. After I changed my clothes and had my PE clothes, and we finished our class, I would just put my normal clothes on and just go to my class. I wasn't going to get in there and shower.
Boy, am I glad I wish they could have allowed me to do that, because if I wanted to get a good grade, I had to shower. I hated it. I just looked away from everyone, just did my thing.
No, I just think that's
I hate it. It's very wrong. It's very wrong. I completely agree with you.
Not only do I think it's wrong, I think it's inappropriate.
It is very inappropriate.
Because,
you are absolutely right.
Because, your body is still developing.
Yeah.
And there are some guys that are more developed than other guys, and it just causes psychological esteem issues to be in a shower with a bunch of naked high school teenager
absolutely,
boys.
Absolutely.
But I never did. I just put my clothes on.
I'm glad you did,
and I waited till I got home before I showered, and stuff
good,
like
good,
that.
Good.
I did. So,
yeah.
I'm just bringing all this up, all these issues to say that there would not be these issues if there were no public school.
You're absolutely right.
There would not be any smoking, drugging, and all this other stuff. And
you're absolutely right.
And another thing too, I like telling this story.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends, she like Sherman was another girl I knew. Her name was Debbie Timmons. And she also was in martial arts, like when she was like 3. She was half Asian, and she was a very cute, petite young woman. And there was this football jock that just kept messing with her one day.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what it is about football jocks. They just don't know how to take no for an answer.
Exactly.
Like if they ask a girl out or something, and the girl says no, they ought to just have the common sense to walk off.
Exactly.
But this one guy in high school I went to, he wouldn't leave her alone. And finally, she reached her breaking point, and she said, "You better leave me alone. I'm giving you a warning. Leave me alone." And he wouldn't take no for an answer. And the next thing you know, she did one of those kung fu martial arts kicks.
Yeah.
And she took her foot and she dropped him.
Good.
She dropped this senior in front of all the people that were around at the high school I went to. It was similar to that movie Billy Jack. Did you ever see Billy Jack?
No, I never heard of it. No, I didn't.
He had a scene where the sheriff was right in his face. And he says, "I don't see how your kung fu tricks are going to get you out of this, right?" And so Billy Jack just sits there and says, "Well, I guess I don't have much choice. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to whop you on the left side of your face." And the sheriff was right in his face. And the sheriff says, "Oh, really?" And Billy Jack says, "Really?" And the next thing you know, he took his right foot, he went, "What?" and dropped that sheriff right on the ground.
Wonderful.
With a kung fu martial arts kick. And that's what Debbie did with this football player.
Wonderful.
To get him to leave her alone. And she was thin like me, just real
wonderful.
Petite. And she dropped him in front of all these people. But see, the point that I'm making is that there would be none of this peer pressure stuff if there were no, school. So if it were left up to me, I'd outlaw the whole thing.
Same here. Wonderful.
I would.
If I was still doing my show, I'd have you as a guest. We'd talk about that type of stuff. Boy, I talk about that a lot. Yeah.
I don't think we necessarily talked about this on the cafe, but I just don't like public school. I never liked it.
Exactly. Same here.
So, and I know it works for some people, but and then here it is, 2016. It's really bad now.
It is. Yeah.
In fact, Hollywood High School in California, it got so bad there, they had metal detectors that they would actually, like you're in an airport with the students.
Exactly.
And that is no way to be sending your child into something like that. And then with all the mass shootings we've had in our culture and in high schools like Columbine and stuff, this is why I'm opposed to public school.
Absolutely.
And I make it a rule not to talk about politics and religion, but I wouldn't say this is political. I'm just making a statement. Public school. I think it would take pressure off high school students.
It would.
And just children in general if they taught their kids at home.
I completely agree with that.
That's all. But I don't have that authority, and I can't stop public school, obviously. So I would just do the next best thing. Get your kids in martial arts.
Yeah.
Get them in there with like 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Get them trained.
Definitely.
I always liked that show, Kung Fu, with... did you ever see that show?
Yes, I did.
Kung Fu with David Carradine?
Yes, I did.
That was just such a cool show. It was just such a neat show.
Yeah, I never have cared for karate movies. The only
No, I'm not talking about those goofy, silly karate movies where the mouth don't match the words. I'm not talking about that.
Like Kung Fu was a good show. I like that.
And on the pilot to Kung Fu, I have a copy of it at home. And there's this scene where Kane, David Carradine's character's name was Kane. He just came to the West. The Western culture. So he didn't know about the racial issues that they had. And he walks into this little cafe bar and he just wanted a glass of water. That's all he wanted was just a glass of water, so he could put his little Kool-Aid powder stuff and just drink. Right? He's minding his business, and there's this old redneck guy with a big fat stomach. I have an eye for Chinamen. And he looks at Carradine's character and goes, "And you smell a little yellow to me." Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, exactly.
Just that terminology.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so offensive.
Yeah.
And so Kane didn't say anything to him, right? So then the guy walks up to him and says, "I don't know if you can speak English or Chinese. I don't speak Chinese. But if you could speak English, I'd tell you, you're not welcome here. Get out. And Cain just ignores him, right? And so then when the bully decides to pick a fight, Cain had a glass in his hand, and he puts the glass up to his chest like this. That should have been a warning sign right there. Leave this martial arts guy alone.
Yeah.
So Cain hits him, right? And the guy flies back. So then he says, Chinaman, I'm going to bust your head, right? He picks up this chair, and so Cain does some martial arts move. He grabs the chair, and he kicks the guy, and he knocks him through the tables there.
Yep.
So then finally the guy pulls out a knife. So, you don't do that with a martial arts expert.
Yeah.
So Cain did something with his foot, and he kicks the knife off the guy's hand, which goes up the wall and sticks up on the wall. And finally the guy gets the message. We better leave this Chinese person alone.
Definitely. Yep.
But see, the point that I'm making is racism is the stupidest thing.
It is. It doesn't make any sense. I've never understood it.
And I know that in that scene with Kung Fu, that's what they were portraying, this racial thing toward Asian people. And my take on it is, I don't care what race a person is.
Exactly.
I don't care what color a person is.
Yeah.
People are people.
Exactly.
And to hate someone because of the color of their skin.
Exactly.
Is idiotic.
Yeah, it is.
Or because they're not your nationality or whatever. And that's what this scene in Kung Fu was portraying. How stupid racism is.
It is.
And you know how I learned that racism is stupid? Well, I told you my father was in the military, and he was stationed in Taiwan when I was in the 3rd grade.
Right.
And my parents used to go to these Monday night football games. We'd watch the Chinese teams play. And then after the football game, my father would be playing poker and cards with a room full of Chinese Asian people. And I used to watch that. And my father was the only African American in there, or maybe one or two others. And they'd be like, just playing cards. And the only thing they saw was green, referring to money.
Yes.
And when I was watching this, it just made me realize people aren't hung up over color. They're just
Yeah.
out there having fun playing cards.
Exactly.
Smoking and drinking or whatever. And I'm not endorsing smoking and drinking, but it's
Right,
just the
right,
point
right,
that
right.
they were, there having fun.
Exactly.
Never once was I ever called the N-word when I lived in Asia, ever. But then you come to the United States and you have that problem, and it's just the stupidest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
My sister, she's married to a white guy, and they've been married for over 20 years.
Yep.
Nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
Maybe a few people do, but they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So that's why when I lived in Taiwan, I learned that lesson that, it doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if you're Asian, Hispanic, African American, whatever. We're all the same.
Exactly.
We just have maybe our skin color's different. But
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
pretty much all the same. We might have some cultural differences.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what makes the world go around.
Exactly.
I mean, if the whole world were like me, it'd be a dull world.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share those thoughts.
Thanks. The only two karate movies I've or anything with is, have you ever heard of the Mortal Kombat movies? They only did two.
I never saw them. I've heard of them.
And Mortal Kombat Annihilation. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
They were very violent, but to me it was the karate ethic of, fighting to the death or fighting for... It was kind of about they got the best fighters, martial arts experts from around the world. It was based on a video game.
Well, I know, and that's just a movie, and I know that they take artistic license, and
They
they
did. But it was just
choreograph the
yeah.
fight scenes because it's a
beautiful-
movie to
yeah,
get people
exactly.
to watch it, but the moves are real, even if they
Yeah, but it's a beautiful story
Yeah.
with a happy ending. Well, not a happy ending, but it was very mystical, very, about they would compete in Mortal Kombat so that the realms would stay separate or not fall into enemy hands. It was very kind of confusing, but it was really beautiful and about, knowing your own destiny. It was just a really well done film with great music and beautiful sets. Both of them. I just loved them both, That's the closest I've ever come to a martial arts film,
Well, of all the martial arts films, I would say Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Yeah,
is
that's
the best
very
one.
good.
Because it may not have been very Christian in the sense of Christianity.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, he's playing a Buddhist.
Right.
So they're not necessarily going to be talking about Christ, but still, I just thought that just peace,
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I've seen some of those goofy kung fu
Oh, I don't
movies.
like those. I don't like those Jackie Chan ones. I don't like
I don't mean the Jackie Chan. I mean the ones where the words don't match. The words don't match. Yeah. It's like the guy's mouth is moving, but you hear they're talking like it's dubbed in.
Yeah, I don't mind the Godzilla movies like that. The Godzilla
all
movies,
those are
cool.
like that too.
Those are cool. The Rodan movies and the Gamera movies. Those are cool.
Well, speaking of Godzilla, when we lived in Taiwan, my birth mom used to drop me and my brother off at the movie theater, and it was 25 cents at that time to see a Godzilla movie.
Wow.
And so my mom would drop me and my brother off at the movie theater because my sister was too young at the time. And then she'd go do some shopping, and my brother and I would be watching these Godzilla movies. And when I saw them all, we'd see like Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan.
Oh, they're fantastic.
and all the rest of them. And even that cheesy Raymond Burr movie.
Yeah.
That was kind of corny.
Never saw it.
Well, the funny thing about those movies is, like, there's always this one white guy that comes from the U.S., and he goes to, like, Europe or Asia or something, and he solves the things that the authorities and everybody can't solve. Mm-hmm. Like, they couldn't solve how to get rid of Godzilla out of Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So they get this one white guy to go all the way to Japan and figure it out, and that was kind of corny. And Raymond Burr, he was a fine actor, and I liked him in Perry Mason, but he did one of those Godzilla movies, and it was just the silliest thing. I don't even know how they talked him into that.
Yeah. They've done so many Godzilla movies, I've lost track,
Yeah, and so I'm not trying to sound racist, but it's the same plot.
Yeah.
Somebody in Japan, I mean the police, the what do you call the
Army,
the
Navy,
the higher ups, and like the president of Japan. None of those people can figure it out, so they get this one lone white guy from the U.S.
Scientist. It's always a scientist. Yes,
one lone guy that can figure out what the
problem is with how to defeat
everybody,
the creatures. Yeah.
It's just the same plot line, and that was just so corny to me.
Because I think,
they've got intelligent people from all races that can figure stuff out.
Yeah.
But that's how it is in these movies,
I know.
And so to get Raymond Burr to do this Godzilla movie, it was so corny.
Yeah, definitely.
It was just, I mean, here, can I put some more corn on your corn?
Yeah.
That's how corny that movie was.
Yeah.
But I did like Raymond Burr in Ironside.
Never saw it. No.
He played the San Francisco police chief that was shot.
Oh, interesting.
So he was in a wheelchair, but he could solve crime even though he was in a wheelchair. He could catch bad guys and solve crime. And he was a real good shot even though he was in his wheelchair. There's a series called Ironside. It was an interesting show, and he had the right people around him in the police force that helped him solve these crimes. Barbara Anderson was like this police lady, similar to Angie Dickinson, a policewoman. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I'm not.
So Barbara Anderson was one of the characters on Ironside, and it was just such a positive show because they always solved crime. And then when Raymond Burr was younger, of course, he did Perry Mason, the attorney, and that was a pretty cool show. And that show still comes on in reruns after all these years.
Oh, cool.
Perry Mason.
Oh, yeah, on WeTV or MeTV.
Yeah, MeTV, yeah. So, and of course, Raymond Burr did some really good stuff throughout his career, not just Ironside and Perry Mason, with the exception of that Godzilla movie. But he did some really good stuff, and it was fun to watch him.
Yeah.
And I like some of those old movies.
Oh, yeah.
I admit, even though those old kung fu movies are stupid, in a sense, there's a degree of fun watching.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, you can laugh at the dubbing that they do and the words not matching the mouth of the actors. And another thing that's funny about those kung fu movies is like everybody in China, Japan, or wherever they're at, Europe or wherever, everybody seems to know kung fu, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody knows kung fu, and that's corny in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then there's this one lone guy who practices kung fu all the time.
Yeah.
So when everybody's kung fu can't get the bad guys, they send this one guy out here,
Yeah,
and he fights like about 10 guys at once, and it's just, well, it's just a movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I was a kid, we watched all those. We watched Godzilla and Rodan and Mothra and all the rest of those characters.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I like
Every
Mothra.
Saturday.
That was one of my favorites as far as those movies. I've seen Mothra. That was excellent.
So yeah, I that's what I did as a little boy.
That's wonderful.
On weekends, every Saturday, my mom would drop me and my brother off, and we would watch Godzilla.
Wonderful.
For a bunch of hours. And, you know, it's a guy thing.
Yeah.
Another thing I like, too, did you ever see any of the Planet of the Apes
Yes,
movies?
I did. Yes, I did.
I don't mean that new version.
Yeah, I know, not the new version, but the old one was very good.
In the 70s. Yeah, my personal favorite of the 5 is the first one.
Yes, absolutely.
The one with Charlton Heston.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I like that scene. Take your stinking balls off me, you damn dirty ape.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not an actor or anything, but that was just such great science fiction writing.
Fantastic.
You know, to think that up, and you know that. I think that movie, the original Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston, I think has stood the test of time.
It has, yeah.
You can watch that movie to this day, and people fall in love with it. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, I've still got some time. So, it just stood the test of time.
It has.
That movie, and it's just great science fiction.
It's
great imagination. You know, they start off there in space. They're heading back to the Earth, and they put themselves in the sleep capsule.
Yeah.
And something goes wrong, and when they land on the Earth, they don't know that they're on the Earth. They think they've landed in the future, and then they get captured by the apes. And it's interesting because the apes talk.
Yes.
Humans don't talk.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And everything that we do to animals, as far as dissecting and stuff, it was reverse.
Exactly.
The apes did the dissecting and the hunting the humans instead of the humans hunting the animals. And that's just brilliant science fiction.
That's fascinating, yes.
Yeah, very brilliant. So, yeah, but the Planet of the Apes is one of my personal favorite films.
Yeah.
In fact, it's one of my favorite films of all time.
Interesting.
My personal all-time favorite movie is My Big Fat Greek Wedding. That may not be Academy Award material, but I like it.
I think my two all-favorite time movies, for fiction, it has to be Star Wars. The original one from 1977. The original Star Wars, A New Hope. The original.
I'll play this for you. That's the theme.
From Star Wars?
No.
Oh, My Big
Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah. My all-time favorite film is The Passion of the Christ. That is my all-time favorite. But as far as fiction, it's Star Wars, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, just wonderful. I don't know what my second one would be. I have no idea.
This cool song.
Yeah, it is.
It's a beautiful song.
I guess you never liked the Alien trilogy then. Did you like the Alien trilogy?
No, I never saw it.
You mean the one with Sigourney Weaver?
I just saw the first one, and that was it. That was more than I can handle.
I loved the Alien trilogy.
But you know, whatever movies you like, people like them, and it works for them. And for me, My Big Fat Greek Wedding is my personal favorite. And the reason for it is because I like the storyline. It was basically about two different people from two different cultures that eventually get married. So
fascinating. Yep.
It may not be a Paul Newman flick. It may not get an Academy Award, but it was just a beautiful story. Nobody dies in it. Or anything like that. So.
Well, one then. Let's see. I guess I know we don't talk about politics or religion, but I love the Care Bears movies. That was very spiritual. I'm not going to get in depth with that, but to me it was very religious. I know it was shocking because people wouldn't think that that's religious. To me it was. It was about the Care Bears, how they defended people. I love that. I always cry my eyes out when I see those cartoons.
I didn't see that, but yeah, like I said, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, that's my personal favorite film. And you know, we are running out of time.
Really? Wow. That's time.
Time just really breezes.
It's almost an hour. Can I ask you just then one last question, or maybe?
Sure.
When you came to the States, Is that when you were in high school? Is that when you heard easy listening for the first time?
No, I was exposed to that, when I was something like 3rd or 4th grade.
Well, did you do homework while listening to easy listening? Like
No,
easy
I
listening
didn't.
radio? That's what I did
not-
in junior high and
not
high
in
school,
those
easy listening
years.
radio, yeah.
I started really appreciating music when I started taking music lessons when I was like in grade school, junior high, something like that.
Interesting. Well, like I said before, I've always done my homework or dishes to easy listening music like on the radio,
Yeah. Well, we better sign out. It's time to stop.
Yep.
And I'll make you a copy of the first show we did, and I'm glad you're back. So, ladies and gentlemen, Emmett and I are just doing a one-on-one today, and we just shooting the shoot, as the old saying goes, just talking.
Yep.
So, I am Asaph Adonai, your host, and we have our aging rocker, Emmett, here, and he's my guest on this episode of Asaph Cafe, and thanks, and we should do another one-on-one sometime. We just talk and talk and talk.
Well, we could talk more about easy listening and that kind of thing,
we
because
could do
that's
that too.
what I did, that's how I got introduced to easy listening. I've already talked about it, but at the same time, I did all my homework to easy listening, hours and hours and hours. Yeah, definitely.
So save that thought, because we'll talk in the future. So,
all right.
Thanks, Emmett, for being part of this.
Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of this episode of Asaph Cafe. Until our next show, Maranatha.